We talked about earlier about when teams come to town that just have that swagger and that reputation. That's definitely one thing in the playoffs that LeBron and the Cavaliers have. We talked about it the whole week leading up. Would Toronto be able not to blow leads and hold on and finish games when it came to the playoffs against Cleveland? And obviously they proved in Game 1 for sure that wasn't the case. They had a big lead. They blew it. And the interesting thing is the Cleveland Cavaliers didn't lead in that game until overtime. And LeBron James and the Cavaliers found a way to win. Game 2, a little different. The Cavaliers were still close at halftime. And then it felt for the first time in these playoffs like it was a different Cavs team. It wasn't that team that was trying to hold off the Pacers or getting blown out by the Pacers. This was a team that was finally in charge. Kevin Love there was very involved, took advantage of the mismatches down low. LeBron was just crazy on fire, hitting all kinds of shots from everywhere, and took over and did his thing. And then we talked about trends. Toronto hasn't won that's 0-5 in playoff games in Cleveland, so I wouldn't look for that trend to change tonight.
Rick, so here's the thing, Rick or Mo, whoever wants to answer this question. What is it about LeBron James that makes him so good? He's like a mutant. He's like he started every single game. We want to say compare him to Michael Jordan. A lot of people say he's in a different era, a different conversation. We can have that conversation on who's the better player, or Michael Jordan. But we can even throw Michael Jordan in there. You got players like Michael Jordan. You got players that just seem to be beast. There's not really a lot of really good, what I call super big stars, super big men in the NBA. Certainly LeBron James is one of those. What makes a mutant like that? That's what we're going to start calling that guy so we can get him as a mutant. But go ahead, Rick or Mo.
Well, I think that one thing that's different is while everybody at the end of the season is going on vacation, LeBron James is back to working out. I mean, the guy spends over $1 million a year taking care of his body. He's got a hyperbaric chamber in his house, hot tub, cold tub, trainers, a chef. The guy cares about keeping his body in shape. And how many guys can you look at in the NBA who have been superstars who are better in their 15th year than they were, in their 7th, 8th, 9th year? LeBron James is probably having the best season of his career, and did it playing every single game, every single playoff game, and played the most minutes in the NBA again, and doesn't look like he's slowing down whatsoever. So I think his commitment to being a top-notch athlete. I mean, I would be hard-pressed to see how many guys in professional sports, other than maybe a guy like Tom Brady, spend more than $1 million a year just taking care of their bodies.
I do. I spend over $1 million a year taking care of my body. No, I'm just kidding.
Was that hookers?
Yeah, hookers and beer. Hookers and beer.
Right.
Rick, do you have any thoughts on LeBron James? We're going to get into some of these other games, but I certainly don't want to exclude you from the conversation, sir.
Yeah, I even think after LeBron retires, it's going to be a lifelong debate past that. Who's better, Jordan or LeBron? And, my childhood is 80s and 90s, so I'm a Jordan guy, but I do feel like what LeBron has done is more impressive. And I think when it's all said and done, LeBron will actually I don't know if he'll ever just live up to the Jordan name, but I just think LeBron's career, when he's done, would actually be far more impressive than Jordan's.
Well, absolutely. So, Mo, let's talk about the Boston Celtics and the 76ers. You're 76er fans. You're still trusting the process. If you're the Boston Celtics fans, you're like, we got this. We got this. I mean, really, they do have this in their grasp. They lead 2-0 against the Philadelphia 76ers. At this point, I would not bet against Brad Stevens and the Boston Celtics.
No, and weirdly, one of the things that helped this year for this group now is these young guys getting to play with the injuries to guys like Gordon Hayward and Kyrie Irving. So these young guys got the playoff season long and got a lot of game experience. And so I think you're seeing that now in the playoffs. It'll be interesting to see what happens next year when these two superstars return. But the other thing you brought up is, I think that Brad Stevens has become an elite NBA coach in the fact that he's definitely outcoached Brant Brown in situations in these games, which, Brant Brown's coached a team that's, not had more than 15 wins the last couple of years. So that's not surprising. But Brad Stevens, I think, has shown that he's become an elite NBA coach. And again, the injuries with these guys getting a lot of run early in the year has definitely helped them. And guys like Terry Rozier and Jason Tatum and those guys, Jaylen Brown, they're out there. They're not afraid, man. They're just not afraid. They're out there and they're playing their hearts out and playing hard for Brad Stevens. The game plan's good and it's working out so far against the 76ers.
Well, absolutely, and I tell you what, a lot of people are running that comparison line between the Pelicans and the Pacers in the same types of teams, and ironically, they're both played the same type of teams in the playoffs. We look at the Pelicans and the Warriors. The Pelicans could push this to the Warriors. I still think the Warriors can get out. Still think the Warriors will be in the finals out in the West, although not completely. I still like Houston a lot, and I think that the Rockets can do some serious damage out there in the West. But certainly we look at the Pelicans and the Warriors. Is the Warriors getting a little bit nervous, or they just got that Cleveland Cavalier cockiness about them where they feel like they're entitled and if you want this, you come get it?
Well, I think that the Pelicans, they don't have enough offense or enough guys that can guard the perimeter to take down Golden State. One thing that they do have that the Cavs don't have it in the finals of recent years is a guy who can protect the rim to keep guys like Kevin Durant from driving so much. So it does keep the offense a little bit more on the perimeter, but the Warriors also have one of the best perimeter games in the NBA. So with that, you've got to have lockdown defenders in who can guard the 1, 2, and 3 spot. And I don't know that New Orleans has that enough. And can you rely on guys like Drew Holiday and Rondo to give you offense, not just Anthony Davis? So you've got to continue to play great perimeter defense, and we saw that happen with New Orleans last night. But to me, I just think there's too much firepower on this Golden State team.
Rockets and Jazz doing business. I tell you what, may have only been the first round, but if you weren't on the Rockets bandwagon, let me just say 2 words to you: 50 burger. Got to get on that Rockets train because it's going to collide with the Warriors, and it's going to be a disaster.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that concerns me is how long can the Rockets keep this up? We saw it. We've seen James Harden and Chris Paul in their previous playoff runs collapse as they got deeper into the playoffs, and that's somewhat of a concern for me. We saw what happens, when there's an off night for those teams. For the Rockets the other night, we saw the Jazz take them down, and don't discount yet the youth and the exuberance of the Utah Jazz. And the longer that the series goes on, I think the worse it is for Houston. I think these are definitely some guys that could use knocking this series out in 5 games and getting a little bit of rest. But it'll be interesting to see. Again, Chris Paul and James Harden don't have a very good track record when it comes to deep in the playoffs, and can this Houston team continue to play and go deeper in the playoffs? I mean, they're obviously fun to watch. They've got great offense. They do play good defense, which is a shocking thing to say about a guy like James Harden. But, I wouldn't count the Utah Jazz out yet.
Are you there, Mo?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Hello?
Go ahead, Mo. You cut it? Yeah, I can hear you. Go right ahead.
I'm not sure what you caught and what you didn't, but I think Houston wins the series. I think they need. Go ahead.
Yeah, you said don't. No, you just said don't rule the Jazz out. So that's cool. We're not going to be able to have a balanced extra today. A lot of stuff going on here, but certainly let's get your final thoughts, words of wisdom, if you were so, sir, on the Kentucky Derby, Romeo Langford, the NBA, sports in general. What say you, sir?
I would say if you're going to bet on the Derby today, keep to the simple bets if you haven't done it before, and don't let the 5 hours of the Derby pregame try to manipulate your thoughts. If you've got a favorite in mind, a horse that you like, bet it. Don't let 5 hours of pregame try to sway your decision, because it will just wind up messing with your mind. So if you're going to bet the horse, bet the one you already looked at, the one you liked, and keep it simple, and keep it within your means of what you can afford to lose. Always bet with only what you can afford to lose.
Absolutely, and I would say go ahead and make your bets now, because you're going to have a lot of people analysts and people on TV try to sway your bets as well. Well, we're going to have to wrap it up, put a bow on it. Mo, where can people find your work and masterpiece, sir?
Right now you can come to my house and we'll just sit and talk about them. Or you can find me on Twitter at Mo Radio Show.
All right, buddy. We'll talk with you soon, and have yourself a good week, sir.
Thanks, guys.
Mo from the BS Sports Show joins us, helping us break down the ponies. Yes, bet what you can afford to lose. So, yeah, Rick, I can't find anybody that'll take $1 in Bitcoin. So I'm kind of screwed on the pony today.
Another thing I would say about betting early is go ahead and bet now where the lines are, because as they move later on, as the day goes on, you might be spending more money to make a bet as we get closer to the race. So bet early.
Bet early. I'm not going to do any betting this week. So you're going to be smoking yourself some ribs.
Smoking some ribs.
You got yourself do you have – now let's figure out – let's see if you're a real smoker. Because a lot of people say they smoke, but a lot of people don't really. They just plug in their smoker and just let it come up to a certain heat. Do you got yourself the green egg, or do you got yourself the Traveler Burger smoker? What do you got?
Well, you're talking about a Traeger, but I have a Masterbuilt Pro. It is the vertical style cabinet smoker, and going to throw in some apple juice and apple wood today. And it's going to be great. 4 slabs of baby back ribs.
There you go. I want my baby back. That's right. Give me a baby back boner, Bobby. That's right, man. I had a friend over last night, and we grilled steaks. I made me a pretty good, tasty ribeye. A few weeks ago, I had some ribeyes thawing out on the. I had 2 of them. Of course, it's just me. I'm a bachelor, and that's okay. I have friends, but I'm a bachelor. Anyway, so I had a couple steaks laying on the counter there. Went outside to fire up the grill because only a real grill person uses charcoal. Not electric, charcoal. So I go out there and fire up the grill. Of course, I have 2 dogs. I have a Bloodhound Lab mix. I have a Shepherd mix. The Bloodhound Lab mix I'm 6'1", can stand on my shoulders and look me square in the eye. She's 170 pounds.
Wow.
She just got a little bit heavier because I came back in and one steak was already gone and she was headed for the second one, and I caught her red-handed. So apparently she likes her steaks rare, very rare. So. I now have to figure out a more clever way to thaw out my meat. Now, today, I'm going to be firing up the grill, and I'm going to be doing some just chicken legs and thighs and maybe some drumsticks or something, barbecue them up, world famous, though. Everything I make on the grill is world famous. It got me some Yingling left over from last night. I got some Angry Orchard. If you want that, you can come get it.
You went and got Angry Orchard?
It was for my guest. It was not for me. It was for my guest that I had here last night to have steaks with me, and that's what she wanted. So,
There
was
no
a
worries.
date, Rick, okay? I want it for the date, all right? This whole dating thing is exhausting. We could do a whole show. On dating, that's for sure. But anyway,
I honestly would not know.
It's all good. It's all good. I dropped the little coins on Match, and so I've been meeting some good quality people. So maybe there's hope for me after all. Anyway, Rick, our executive producer, we got to wrap it up, put a bow on it. What are you working on for us this week, and what's going on?
You can find me on Twitter at Riggin_Rick, 12versus5.com. It's also a subdomain going in for IU basketball, Notre Dame football called iurish.com. So working on that also, getting some recruiting information out there for IU basketball and Notre Dame football. And also on Twitter, if you just want to tweet to the show, me or to Tom, it's #AmericanAF.
#AmericanAF, baby. I totally forgot to put it in there, and I totally forgot about 12 versus 5. I'll make that up to you on the back end, sir. I promise you that. I promise you that. All right, sir, have yourself a good week, and we'll talk with you soon. My name's Tom-Marquis, Presidente. Remember, don't drink and drive. It isn't cool. I'm out of here. Deuces.